I want to start this video off with a full game spoiler warning. If you have not completed Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, I suggest that you come back to this video after you have done so. In this video, I'll be covering the current strategy for the free Glitchless category of Sparks Fly, You Die. If you want more background on this guide series, I'll have a link in the description to the first video in this series where I talk more about the structure of the series. I'll also have other useful links for mechanics and other general information in the description, as well as a link to a Pastebin with the written version of the build and strategy that I will be covering in this video. With that out of the way, let's get into the build. So for this TA, we're going to be running the party of Shulk, Dunban, Ricky. For the gear on Shulk, you're going to want to run the Monado 3 with attack plus, attack ability, and back attack plus, as well as 2 strength up gems and quick step. The gear here is pretty straightforward, we're just running the gems to get as much damage as possible, and we don't need the glory gauntlets because Shulk's not going to be auto attacking. For Dunban, we're going to be running the Machina Blade 3 with weapon power, physical defense down, and double attack, as well as 2 strength up gems, haste from the glory gauntlets, and quick step. Dunban's mostly going to be used for peerless and physical defense down, so running strength up on him isn't super important, but it's better to have it than to not have it. And finally for Ricky, we're going to be running the Machina Biter 3 with weapon power, physical defense down, and double attack, as well as 2 strength up gems, haste from the glory gauntlets, aggro up from the Argos leggings, and quick step. Ricky's going to be used primarily for physical defense down, but we're also going to want him to use Tantrum to draw aggro in wave 1 so that Shulk can get behind the enemies. Because of this, running as much damage as we can on Ricky while also running the Argos leggings to give him some extra aggro. For arts on Shulk, you're going to be needing Battle Soul, Shadow Eye, and Stream Edge. You're also going to want to make sure that Buster is leveled up all the way, since we're going to be using that as well. For arts on Dunban, the only art that we actually want him to use is Peerless, but in order to get Dunban to use Peerless, he needs to have multiple other physical arts, otherwise his AI will favor not using it. Because of this, we're also running Gale Slash, Soaring Tempest, and Steel Strike. There are other combinations of arts that you can use to get him to use Peerless at the start of battle, but this is my preferred setup of arts because I know that this will work consistently. And finally for Ricky, the only art that we want to have equipped to him is Tantrum. For skills, as usual, we're going to be mostly just focusing on damage and quick step. I'll go ahead and just go through my skill links real quick, and you can copy them down if you want. Of special mention is that on Ricky, we're linking Dunban's skill Overwhelm, which also increases Ricky's aggro draw. This will help Ricky get the aggro during wave 1 so that Shulk can hit the enemies from behind easier. With all that out of the way, let's get into the video review section of this video. In this section of the video, we're going to be talking through my current PB as of the time of recording this video. The first thing to note about this strategy is that you're going to want to start off with your battle command on Lure. I don't do this in my current PB because this wasn't really implemented by the time that I got this PB, but a video over how to set this up will be linked in the description. So at the start of battle, you're going to want to just target onto one of the enemies, lure, and initiate combat. Then you're going to want to switch your targeting over the unique monster and focus your allies onto it. We'll go ahead and watch this now. So as the enemies come up to you and they're about to start attacking Shulk, you're going to want to use Shadow Eye to avoid getting the animation of Shulk dodging. During this time, Dunban and Ricky will auto-attack the unique monster, Dunban will use Peerless, and Ricky will start to use Tantrum. After this, you're going to want to walk to behind the group of enemies. I usually find it better to walk around the right side just because of how the enemies are lined up, and then you're going to want to use Stream Edge. There's a lot that I just kind of went through right there, so let's go ahead and watch the video and kind of talk about it as it happens. So go ahead and use Shadow Eye as they attack. You can see it because I am in the Shadow Eye animation, I don't get the dodging animation. They attacked and got off some physical defense down, and Dunban also used Peerless. Ricky uses Tantrum to draw the aggro. I walk behind them and I use Stream Edge. If you hit all enemies from behind and you get some physical defense down on the unique monster, this will always kill all 3 enemies. For wave 2, we're going to want to target onto the unique monster, use Battle Soul to get the rest of Shulk's talent up, and focus your allies onto the unique monster. We'll go ahead and watch that a little bit now. So I use Battle Soul and focus my allies, and you're going to want to try to kill all 3 enemies with a single buster. While you don't have to switch targeting to do this, I typically find that the hitbox of Buster plays a little bit nicer if you target onto one of the smaller enemies in the back. So that's what I'm going to do here. So run up so that you have all 3 enemies in a line, and I'll go ahead and go back just a little bit so we can. So I target onto one of the enemies in the back, and I move into an angle so that all 3 enemies will be lined up to be killed by a single Buster. Ricky and Dunban are gonna. I believe they both need to get physical defense down for this to kill the unique monster. I'm not 100% sure though. But essentially, you need to get some physical defense down. You need to have the enemies group up in a good way, and if all lines up well, you'll kill all 3 enemies in a single Buster. So that's about it for the strategy for this TA. I'll go and let this play out as I go through the outro. But I do hope that you found this video interesting, and if you were looking to run this TA, that you found this video helpful. With all that out of the way, though, I will see you in the next one. See ya.